Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham is finding out the hard way that solving gun violence isn't easy. And that's especially true if you're trying to do it in ways that are unconstitutional, unenforceable, and ineffective. Earlier this month, Grisham surprised many in her state by ordering a 30-day suspension of open and concealed carry laws in Albuquerque and Bernalillo County in the wake of several shootings. Now, while we all share her frustration in the rise of gun violence, this isn't a good idea, and she's receiving a ton of backlash for it. There have been rallies and protests. She's facing several lawsuits, and even fellow Democrats and progressive activists have been critical, warning that her attempt to curb gun violence in this way could backfire. Even a woman who lost her son due to gun violence in 2021 joined in on a protest. Referring to her son's death, she said, "After things like this happened, we need to protect ourselves, and now she's taking that away from us." So let's break down all of the ways in which this suspension is ill-advised and ill-fated. Starting with the Constitution. No governor can, on a whim, suspend the U.S. Constitution, which protects the Second Amendment and the right to bear arms. As Democratic Congressman Ted Lieu of California wrote, "I support gun safety laws. However, this order from the governor of New Mexico violates the U.S. Constitution. There's no such thing as a state public health emergency exception to the U.S. Constitution." Even the American Civil Liberties Union voiced objections, claiming this could lead to overzealous policing and infringe on privacy. As such, Governor Grisham is facing multiple legal objections to this. No kidding. She's also having trouble enforcing it. New Mexico Attorney General Raul Torres announced he cannot defend the public health order. Bernalillo County Sheriff John Allen, a Democrat, and Albuquerque Police Chief Harold Medina said the order violates constitutional rights and they won't enforce it. The head of the New Mexico Chiefs of Police Association called the governor's move a knee-jerk reaction that can't be justified. With all of this opposition and a refusal to enforce the order, Grisham's suspension feels pretty pointless. But the problem I have as a law-abiding gun owner who very much wants to find practical ways to curb gun violence is that this is not likely to do that. Suspending concealed and open carry laws for 30 days will likely do nothing to end gun violence. That's because the people who carry guns under these laws aren't typically the people committing the violence. Put it this way, the concealed carry permitting process in New Mexico and every state is rigorous. People who want this privilege have to apply. They have to submit to fingerprinting. They have to give the state their name, address, phone numbers, criminal history, health background. They have to take gun safety classes. And every 4 years, they have to reapply. And in between, every 2 years, they're required to take a refresher course. Now, the people who comply with all of these requirements and hand all of their personal information over to the state, going on record as firearms owners, presumably take gun laws pretty seriously. These aren't typically gang members or mass shooters or drug dealers, none of whom are likely to go through all these hoops to legally carry firearms. The suspension doesn't take anyone's guns away. It doesn't take any illegal guns off the street. It doesn't curb gun access or proliferation. I'm not really sure what it does at all. So taking stock of Grisham's plan, it's unconstitutional, unenforceable, and ineffective, makes it pretty bad policy any way you slice it. Yes, we have to curb gun violence, but this ain't it. That's it for me. See you next week.